It's impossible. The perfect episode of TV anime doesn't exist. Alright, well, let's just see what this one's all about. Oh my god. The perfect episode of TV anime exists! I have to go tell everyone. I did it. I finally did it. They all said it couldn't be done. They all called me crazy. But I'll have the last laugh. Behold, the perfect video essay on the perfect episode of TV anime. What makes an episode of anime your favorite? Perhaps it's the episode in the series where a shocking reveal occurs. Maybe it's the episode where an action-packed, perfectly animated fight scene goes down. If you're a sadist, it's when your favorite character dies. R.I.P. These kinds of episodes tend to be later in the season for a show, writing the lead up to the penultimate moment that the creators have carefully been crafting for weeks prior. They're the sweet release of a balloon pop after having watched the air fill to the brim. One quick look at the top-rated episodes of anime on IMDb. This seems to be the general consensus for most people. We all love anime episodes that give us that sweet release. Big moments in a series that you think back to immediately. Attack on Titan or Death Note episodes with a plot twist for the ages. My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer episodes with the climactic fight scene. And more Attack on Titan episodes? Really? God, they love that over there. While many of these episodes that were ranked at the top are fantastic, they lack one thing that I find crucial for a perfect episode of anime. Many of these are episodes that must be viewed in the whole of their season. There's no distinct narrative through line in the episode itself. Rather, these are episodes that serve as a vehicle to get you to that big moment. Plucking it out from a lineup and viewing it individually would take away any narrative context that you would get from watching the season as a whole. This isn't to say that all episodes need to be self-contained to be good though. More just that what many people consider to be the cream of the crop of anime episodes is predicated mostly just on a singular amazing scene. When I think of a great episode of television, I'm not looking for an episode that just has one great scene. I'm looking for the kind that has its own narrative arc that exists within the episode itself. A clear start point and end point that can close the circle of an episode to give it satisfaction. Of course, having an amazing moment makes an episode memorable, but what makes one great is everything that happens within the 23 minutes to get you there. The soundtrack, the voice acting, the animation, and the narrative, all melding together to create an episode that transcends its own series. So then, what do I believe is the best episode of TV anime? What do I think combines the build-up to a penultimate scene with a strong individual narrative? Well, does the episode title Like a Boatsman Adrift ring a bell? No? Damn, thought you guys would have known that. Big fans. Well, how about Season 3, Episode 23 of Chihayafuru? Like a Boatsman Adrift is the second to last episode in the last season of Chihayafuru. It's a balloon pop episode that the show has been building towards since Season 1. A showcase of perfect narrative storytelling and direction with gorgeous animation to boot. Not a single moment in the 23 minutes of runtime is wasted. Every second has purpose in and out of this one episode, which leaves you satisfied narratively. This despite the content of the episode
being incredibly heart-wrenching. By the time the credits roll, there is no doubt in my mind that this is one of the best episodes anime has to offer. Hopefully, as you can tell, this video is going to be about one of the last episodes of Chihayafuru. I'm going to talk about it all in depth, so this video will be full of spoilers. If you haven't seen the anime yet, or you're not caught up, I would advise watching it first or finishing it before you watch this video. You can come back and agree with everything I've said after you've done so. For those who haven't watched the series at all and are still sticking around, I get it. I'm curious like that too. You can only stay if you promise to watch Chihayafuru afterwards. Chihayafuru is a 3-season-long josei anime series that is based off the manga of the same name. Both manga and anime are critically acclaimed with commercial success in Japan. It was animated by Madhouse and headed by Morio Asaka, who has worked on other series such as Nana and My Love Story. The anime began its run in 2011 with a 25-episode season, soon followed by another 25-episode season a year later. However, due to some internal affairs at Madhouse, it wasn't until 6 years later, after season 2 aired, that season 3 finally came out in October of 2019, becoming the highest rated season of the series, and from kind of what I've heard, put Madhouse back on the map as an animation studio. The series is a sports drama that follows a high school girl named Chihaya that plays a sport called karate, a Japanese card game that uses poems from the Hyakunin issue in a competition of speed, memorization, and hearing. Chihaya aims to be the karate queen, one of the best players in Japan, thanks to her childhood friend Arata, who taught her about the game. Unfortunately, he moves away due to family trouble, and Chihaya must reach her goals alone. Once she enters high school though, Chihaya reunites with her other childhood friend Taichi, who agrees to start a karate club with her. While the anime does focus on all 3 of these characters, the episode in question just focuses on Chihaya and Taichi, 2 characters who prior to this episode have been unable to understand each other's feelings. Taichi has been holding in his own feelings of love towards Chihaya, and Chihaya doesn't understand why Taichi won't talk to her about his problems. She cares for him deeply, but Taichi doesn't believe he holds a large place in her heart due to her receiving a confession from their friend Arata. He's becoming increasingly distant from her and their friends due to his inferiority complex both mentally and in karate. This ultimately leads Chihaya to holding a birthday event for Taichi to have fun and smile with everyone. This is where we begin Like a Boatsman Adrift. This episode covers 2 chapters of the manga. It's adapted pretty perfectly from the source material, so the narrative storytelling is mostly thanks to the mangaka Yuki Suetsugu. However, the reason the anime almost plays out better than in the manga is because it's not separated. These 2 chapters go hand in hand, and due to the anime putting them together, the through line between them takes center stage, making this episode one that has you on the edge of your seat due to the character drama alone. There's no big karate match or plot twist, just raw emotion. So let's get into the episode itself and see why I'm calling it the best episode of TV anime. We start with the cold open. Arata is practicing in Fukui after beating Taichi in their match and thinks of him. He wonders what would have happened in their game had the Chiha card been called. Would Taichi have been able to take it from him? Before he can think back on it much longer, Arata is told by one of his friends that he'd like to start a karate team with him at their school, after which we get the opening theme song of season 3. While this cold open doesn't have much impact on the rest of the episode, it's a good setup for what's to come in the series. The episode didn't want to focus on just 2 of the 3 main characters, so giving Arata something to do right away gives us a little bit of a taste for the future. In the meantime, we also get to hear about what happened in Taichi and Arata's match. We know that previously Taichi sent Arata the Chiha card, but we had no clue if the card was called and who got it. It's a bit of a teaser itself since the Chiha card represents Chihaya in a way. We aren't sure where her feelings towards which boy lie, only knowing that Arata confessed to her first, putting her in a fluster. I also just love how introspective the cold open is. It gives us some questions to ponder for this episode that sets the tone. What would happen if Taichi got the card? Would Taichi have changed the game and won? This can be be seen as foreshadowing for this episode as well as the rest of the series. Taichi is trying to dive into the depths of his own self, and the audience has yet to know where this will end up leading him. After the opening song finishes, we cut to a voiceover of Chihaya. She is reciting the invitation sent out to the players for Taichi's surprise birthday karate tournament she put together. We then see she got atrocious pink and white polka dot shirts for the occasion, peak Chihaya fashion sense. She tells everyone the rules of the game they'll be playing for that day, absolutely flooring Taichi with the insanity of it all. The insanity doesn't end there either. One of the players who is attending the tournament asks what the prize for winning would be. Chihaya mentions that they've spent all their money on putting together the tournament, so the only prize she can offer is a kiss from the birthday boy himself, Taichi. Once again, Taichi is absolutely floored and distressed by this news, but Chihaya reassures him that anyone would be happy to get a kiss from him. Hold on to that. That's a surprise tool that can help us later. Despite being a little confused by everything, Taichi is still very obviously happy that Chihaya has put so much thought into a birthday party for him. He's playing alongside people who all care for him enough to come to a karate tournament with outrageous shirts, rules, and prizes. Taichi becomes introspective himself when he realizes the matches they're playing that day are much like the ones he played with Arata and Chihaya when they were kids. He reminisces on the past the three of them shared and if he's changed at all since those days. Has he become less of a coward and accepted himself? As the tournament comes to an end, it ultimately results with Chihaya and Taichi tying. Although since they all have to clear out, the real winner remains at a stalemate. During this first act, we are being set up for the remaining 14 minutes. It's the calm before the storm that the rest has in store. We're seeing Taichi happy and smiling, enjoying his birthday to the fullest. At the same time, we're also seeing Taichi think about if he's gotten any less cowardly than when he was a kid. It's a nice little reprieve that makes the audience comfortable while watching, lulling us into a false sense of security without giving us too much to be worried about just yet. In the back of our minds, though, we are also asking these same questions about Taichi's journey in these moments. Arata has asked what would happen if Taichi dove into the depths further, and Taichi asks himself if he's grown. As the viewer, it could just initially seem like Taichi is being introspective about his birthday and nothing more. There's no warning signs just yet. Only fleeting moments of joy with loved ones before the scene fades out on cherry blossoms. We move to the next day where Taichi walks into the empty club room. He looks upon the view behind the sliding glass doors before Chihaya walks in the room as well. She brought curtains to replace the old ones, and the two put them up together. Chihaya exclaims that she wanted to make the room fresh for the new recruits that will soon be coming. The moment of which she says this, a breeze flows through the room, bringing in the cherry blossoms with it. A calming spring day. Suddenly, Chihaya realizes that they haven't decided on who won the Taichi Cup yet. She demands that Taichi play a runoff game with her, to which he blows it off, asking why Chihaya even picked those weird rules in the first place. Chihaya tells him that she realized with the rules she set out, Taichi would be playing at his best since he has great memorization. Before we get into it, I just want to point out how much tension this scene has for one reason alone. There's no music. For almost 2 whole minutes, there is nothing but dialogue between two characters. It's not dramatic, it's not full of emotions, just two characters talking to each other about curtains. Yet without that music, it seems like there is just a tension in that room. We're put in an uneasy state because something feels a little off. Why is it so quiet? And then the music comes in. Taichi takes a deep breath as he sits alone in the room with Chihaya. It quivers ever so slightly, and he confesses what he did back in grade school that Chihaya never knew about. He tells her about how he took Arata's glasses that day years ago, a day he could never forget, the day he became a coward in his friend's eyes. Chihaya scolds him. She's confused why she's just now finding this out, and Taichi just lays on the floor in shame. He thinks back on how cowardly he was viewed by Arata at the time. He thinks back to how cowardly he's been his whole life. He agrees what he did back then was bad, and wants to change. Suddenly, another breeze hits the curtain, sending cherry blossoms along with it. The music has been swelling. It builds and builds until we reach our balloon pop.
好きなんだ。千早が。
We linger once again in complete silence with only the rustling of the curtains in the wind, when Chihaya finally puts the pieces together in her mind. She finally realizes why Taichi has tried to do everything alone. It clicked. Taichi sits up once again to face Chihaya, only to see her in visible distress. The camera itself shakes to show this state of confusion. Once he realizes that the answer to the confession is most likely sealed, the violins cut back in as the two look at each other. The use of music, or lack thereof, once again makes these scenes that much more emotional. It brings in the orchestra to hit that buildup and cuts it out entirely when the words of no return have been said. Your heart drops right as the swelling violins do, which makes that confession that much more impactful. You're left marinating in that silence, which puts you on edge. This is a confession, though. We, as the viewer, should be happy. However, it's not a confession of joy, but a confession of change. Spring brings new beginnings, which brings change. Cherry blossoms themselves have a meaning of death and rebirth in Japan, symbolizing the cycle of which a tree will bloom for a few beautiful moments before the flowers inevitably fall. When the curtain blows, those changes begin. First, with Chihaya's hope for the Karate Club in the future, then second, with Taichi's irreversible confession. The winds of change are coming for the both of them. As Taichi and Chihaya look at each other, Taichi feels more and more reluctant about having said his feelings. He knows where this is headed. He wants to say that this is all a joke, but that's what a coward would do, and Taichi wants to be done with that. He presses on and tells Chihaya all the things he loves about her. Still, seeing that bewildered look on her face makes him remember that Arata will always be there in her heart, that Arata will probably always be the person she wishes for. Chihaya even thinks of Arata's confession as well during this time. She remembers how Arata asked her to play karate with him for the rest of their lives. She's conflicted and unsure of what to do. The sun has set and the bell suddenly rings. Drowning out her voice, Taichi can barely make out the words, "I'm sorry." We're put back into a state of silent tension. Taichi is expressionless upon hearing this and only responds with "yeah" before getting up to leave. He puts himself down, remarking that he can't hear her that well because his game sense sucks. He stops outside the door. Everything is dark around him as the cards fall to the floor, heavy and black. Chihaya sees the same. This concludes the second act of the episode. Yeah, somehow there's still more to come. And I'm starting to feel like the grandpa from Princess Bride, just cutting in at random times to remind you that I'm here.
Nobody kills him. He lives.
You mean he wins? Jesus, Grandpa, what did you read me this thing for?
While I've mostly been focusing on the soundtrack and storytelling up until this point, I want to draw attention to the vocal performance and animation for this part. Taichi is voiced by none other than Mamoru Miyano, who put his whole mamusi into this confession scene. The desperation that Taichi feels to say everything he's wanted to for years comes out so heartbreaking and real. You can hear the timidness in his voice before he confesses. It's shaky and breathy. There's a hesitation in the words where you can feel the nerves of someone who is laying their heart bare. If there was ever a way to hear what love sounds like, Mamoru Miyano channeled that into this confession scene. On the other hand, the animation heavily focuses on the small details of expression on both Chihaya and Taichi, forcing the viewer to meet both of their gazes without a moment of rest, seeing every twinge of sadness and disbelief in their eyes. We see the details of everything Taichi loves about Chihaya. Her fingernails, her hair, and her smile that is absent from her face during this whole scene. Fading out the details of the room to white, just showing these two people bathed in wind and cherry blossoms. Hair flowing in the breeze the entire time. The animation is beautiful, warm, and inviting. The feelings somber and weighty, like the karate cards that Taichi and Chihaya see in front of them by the end of Act 2. The winds of change have been blowing, but we haven't gotten to the end of the breeze just yet. The winds of change have come for Chihaya and Taichi, but the winds of change still need to come for the Karate Club, which is where we begin Act 3. Now, where were we? Oh yes, the pit of despair. We start Act 3 with the pair at their karate practices. Something is obviously off with both of them, but no one says anything and they go about their club activities. The team talks about how the new recruits for the club will be coming soon and what they'll do to get new members. Before this, though, test scores have arrived. One of the club members, Tsutomu, has realized he reached the top score in their grade, but he also realizes what this means for Taichi. His mom will make him quit the karate club. He's discussing what to do with another team member when Taichi appears behind them, asking for a favor. It's now the day for the club presentation in front of the first years. Taichi is nowhere to be seen, and the club supervisor walks up to Chihaya. She takes her script, telling her that there will be a change, and removes a player off their list. The violins swell in when Chihaya realizes, and a wave of applause from the club on stage fills the room. Chihaya is in denial. She takes the stage to talk about the karate club, but right as she says the wrong number of members, her face freezes. Tears well in her eyes. She takes off to go find Taichi, and Kana takes her place to finish their speech. Alright, let's get it over with. This is one of the most heartbreaking scenes ever witnessed on television. Roll it. We see Taichi walking out of school, and Chihaya is screaming his name after him. She's crying and begging him not to quit, pulling on his clothes. Taichi then pulls her in. We pan out to see that he's kissed her. Once again, Chihaya is in shock. There's complete silence before Taichi leans on her and says,
千早、お前は俺が石でできてるとでも思ってんのか?
Remember how I told you to hold on to that surprise tool that can help us later? Well, yeah, here it is. We've completed the circle of the narrative in this episode that they had set up in just the first few minutes. A seemingly innocuous joke during a scene of joy has become the key to destroying not only the karate club, but the relationship between these two characters. Bringing Chihaya to realize the weight of Taichi's feelings, as well as realizing that there is no going back. The winds have finally brought change for the karate club. Taichi has left and Chihaya's normalcy is gone for good. We started the episode on a bright, sunny day, but by the end, the sun has set. We once again have a moment with no music in this scene. As soon as Chihaya starts running after Taichi, there is nothing but silence and their voices. Asami Seto, who voices Chihaya, puts so much emotion into her screams. She conveys Chihaya's utter sadness at her friend leaving the club that they built together so well. The shock and distress that Chihaya feels in this moment rings through the air with no noise to drown it out this time. There is absolute silence after the kiss happens too, which lets the audience sit in the weight of what just happened even longer. It's tense. Your heart is at the bottom of your stomach. Until Mamoru Miyano cuts in with his line, quiet and somber. The piano comes back in and we see the frozen face of tears that Chihaya has. Taichi tells Chihaya he sees the cards as black. All of them. He can't keep playing with this feeling inside of him. We see a compilation of all the beautiful moments with Chihaya and his team that he's had up until this point, but the cards are all black. He can't see these moments as happy anymore. The main Chihayafuru motif plays in the background, longingly, as Taichi's voice echoes through like it's in a void. We cut out to see the black cards still falling, like cherry blossoms in the spring, as Taichi walks away from Chihaya. How are you guys holding up? I remember the first time that I had watched this episode and how inconsolable I was by the end. The emotional beats hit so hard that it almost feels like it's happening to you. Every second after the 5-minute mark of this episode has you digging your nails into your palms like you were watching a karate match from the previous episodes. The tension is palpable, and you're not even sure why until that confession happens. Like a Boatsman Adrift is what a good episode of TV anime looks like. It's got an incredibly strong narrative and knows what it wants to accomplish in its runtime. It doesn't meander for the sake of padding before the big moment or try to be overly complicated. Everything from the dialogue to the music to the voice acting serves a narrative purpose for this episode, making you trudge through those murky waters until the very end without ever letting you look away. The directing from Chie Yamashiro and Tomoya Kitagawa in this episode is some of the best I've seen. This is personally one of the best episodes of not only anime, but of television. No other show has been able to shatter my own heart in the exact same way that it shatters the hearts of the characters on screen. No other show has been able to put me at the edge of my seat just over two characters having a conversation about curtains. No other show has a song on its soundtrack that can put me in the exact moment of heartbreak upon hearing it. Literally, someone called this the Taichi suffering song, and it's all I can think about. You play even a little bit of Karatanante, I'll cry on the spot. The start of the episode plants every idea of what will happen by the end into our head without letting us on too much. We start the episode by asking how far would Taichi go for the Chiha card. By the end of the episode, we now know. We start the episode with an offhand comment about how the winner will get a kiss from Taichi, of which both Chihaya and Taichi win. By the end, Taichi takes that kiss, but they both lose. The whole episode is a continuous fall from grace from those first few minutes of Taichi playing happily with his friends, until your heart has nothing left inside of it, just like Chihaya and Taichi. Of course, this video is going to be disagreeable to some, if not most people. There's no big fancy animation sequence like the popular titles I listed previously, or the death of a character. Although I would consider the separation between these two characters just as bad as a character death, but that's just me. What this episode does have, however, is one of the strongest narratives of a single episode in TV. Even if you removed it from the season's episode order, you could feel every emotion of these characters still. You could understand their plights and their struggles, and by the end, probably still shedding some tears and wiping them off with your sleeve. Season 3, episode 23 of Chihayafuru, titled Like a Boatsman Adrift, has everything I look for in an amazing 23-minute runtime of television. An amazing 23-minute runtime of television. Minute runtime of television. Of television. That's it! That was the perfect dream of the perfect video essay on the perfect episode of TV anime. Shit! I don't remember anything! Guess I'll just wing it? Okay. Yeah.
3 days later.
This is the perfect video essay on the perfect episode of TV anime. Tribute. No, it's not the same.